Hi, my name is Vlada Vladik, and I want to invite you to my story, a story that's called Seeds of Life. Join me as I open up my heart, my home, and my family to all of you. We're going to cook together, we're going to share experiences. Most of all, we're going to focus on us as family and as a nation. We are at Dixon Estate, where we're going to meet Sherry and Dean Dixon, our local olive oil producers. We are in Sherry Dixon's kitchen, preparing and presenting wonderful recipes with olive oil that you grow and produce on your estate.
And I thought we would highlight what we've picked from the garden this morning. So they're washed and ready to go. We're going to make a red pepper soup, and we're going to use these peppers and those Roma tomatoes back there.
Everything that we're cooking today has been grown by your own hands.
Yes, ma'am.
On this piece
I
of
washed
land.
them.
On this land, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Right.
They're actually still warm, but
Still warm.
they're washed and ready to go. So we're going to basically do about 6 peppers, a couple of onions, and I have a few cloves of garlic.
Okay.
And you have a knife, so I'm
got a
really
knife?
planning on you helping me.
Okay, I got a knife
You
and
ready?
I'm willing and ready.
Okay.
So just tell me what needs to be
So
done.
why don't you take a couple of red, I'll
Okay.
take a yellow and a green.
And you just want them cut, right?
We're just going to cut them into wedges.
Okay. I'm handy with knives, so put me to work and give me a knife. I can deliver. Oh, these smell good.
Isn't that fresh? And can you hear the crispness? It's exciting.
Well, definitely. There's something about fruits and vegetables that you grow, yourself. The freshness and aroma. There's just something to it.
Well, and they're all organic. So every now and then you may see a little blemish, but that's okay.
That's okay, right?
They're
It's
pure.
fine. It's growing your own fruits and vegetables. It's something that I wish to encourage everybody to at least try.
Why don't you just taste it quick? Just a quick taste. The difference is phenomenal. What do you think?
Well, this is how pepper should taste, right?
How they used to taste.
Yeah. Right, sweet, and
that is
flavorful.
good.
It's very good.
We
Right.
might not get these cooked.
So, what are we doing with these peppers? We are going to roast them, right?
Mm-hmm.
What are we gonna do with that?
A couple of onions,
Okay.
and I've got some garlic here, and we're going to be careful. I'm going to pick 1 serrano and 1 jalapeno. We don't want it too hot. But once they're roasted, some of their heat dissipates, and then we're going to combine them with the roasted peppers. So it shouldn't be too spicy.
Talk about delicious and healthy, and talk about people who are willing to work for their food. I just love it. It's everything that I envision to see for future generations.
We love having our grandkids here because they love to water. In fact, they water a lot, probably more than everything needs. But watching them pick the carrots and getting involved has been really a blessing. I'm going in. I'm going to be very careful with this hot pepper.
All right. And you grow those too, right?
We do. We grow the serrano. Dean loves to make a hot pepper oil, and we puree just the serranos with our olive oil, and it is a very, very hot finishing oil. In case we don't get it,
Seeds in.
seeds in.
Twice as dangerous, huh? Is it?
Or
Or is
should
it-
we take them out?
I
We
don't
have
know.
to.
We
Let's
wanna-
be brave. We can always add a little bit of bread to our soup to kind of mellow it out a bit.
We want to spice up our day. So,
Yeah,
so
it's seeds of life and the spice of life.
how you like these onions cut?
Again, just about the same size in strips as the peppers so that they all kind of roast evenly together.
Okay, very good.
Oh, and I think I'm going to treat us to a shallot. We harvested a shallot this morning too. These are a little milder and they really give it a nice flavor.
Well, this is
And I have this little trick. Probably don't do that at home.
This is such a nice way to present idea of growing your own food to all of you. As you have this one very sophisticated woman here with us, and yet,
Normally in farm clothes.
yes, but yet she produces pretty much everything that she eats, except
We
vanilla
do.
and what else? What do you buy? Sugar, vanilla,
Occasionally break down and buy a little cream and cheese. But we would love to graduate to having sheep someday.
I want you to tell our viewers about your background, because obviously this is the importance of exposing children to farm life. It benefits them down the road. So tell us about.
Well, I grew up on a dairy, so I'm used to a work ethic. Cows get milked in the morning and in the evening. So you see your animal twice a day. Then we produced milk, and we actually used the milk straight from the creamery. So I have made the leap from cream and butter to olive oil. It's healthier, and it actually has a lot of health benefits. Occasionally we'll finish something with olive oil and butter, but for the most part we've really made the switch. As soon as that onion's done, we're going to add a little salt and pepper, and we'll be ready for the oven.
And these onions mean business.
Oh, they're strong. I know. Don't you wish they could hear it, smell it on TV?
Yeah, because they'll see it, how strong these onions are, because I'll be crying in a minute, I think. Whoa. Potent stuff. That means you got a good earth around here.
Yep.
Okay, so we have, walk us through the recipe. We have
All right. So
peppers. How many peppers?
We used 6 peppers.
Okay.
We used 2 onions. We used 2 peppers, 1 serrano and 1 jalapeno,
Okay.
and then 3 cloves of garlic. I'm going to toss, and if you'll put in a little salt and a little
love to.
pepper. And aren't these amazing? They're made from olive wood.
These little containers?
Mm-hmm.
Definitely olive tree, please. So how much? Just a pinch?
Perfect.
Good?
Uh-huh.
All right, salt. And are we using sea salt, or what we got here?
This is a kosher salt. I like kosher salt because you can feel how much you're putting in.
Very
Has a
good.
nice texture.
Very
So
good.
I'm going to gently toss them.
Okay, do you want me to bring the baking
Yes, if
sheet?
you'll get our
Okay, I'll be glad to.
cookie sheet for us. And I've lined it with foil simply to make our work easy, because we're going to pour this all into a food processor in about
good.
30-35 minutes,
Okay.
and we'll be good to go.
Oh, it
So
smells
since
so
my hands are dirty, I know,
Okay.
do you want to see in there? I'm going to wipe my hands if you'll pour them
smells so
onto
good.
the cookie sheet.
Yes. Okay. Okay, we want to
Beautiful.
excite all of you who are watching to consider, if not growing your own food, but at least visiting your local farmer's market and just pick up the freshest and the best produce, because
It's
this,
good because you're supporting a farmer.
Yes.
So, and it is a labor of love.
and you're eating very delicious food, right?
We are.
Because
All
this
right.
is really fragrant. I mean, I can just eat it the way it is. Okay, here we go. And now our peppers are roasting. We are moving on to bread.
That's right.
So what's very interesting to me is I've been taught that the more you knead bread, the better it is. Yours is completely different. There's no kneading at all. Tell us about it.
That's correct. Because we love to have bread every day with our olive oil, we had to come up with something where we are not constantly kneading. And
Okay.
this recipe, there isn't any kneading.
Okay.
So, very simple,
Show
3
us what you do.
steps. I have 3 cups of bread flour.
Okay.
I'm going to add 1.5 teaspoons of salt.
All right, that's
A
simple.
1/4 teaspoon of yeast is all we need.
Okay.
I'll stir the dry ingredients together. And then we're going to add 1.5 cups of cool water.
Cool water. It's against the law. My
know.
mother said always warm water.
110 degrees, not with this.
The things have gone easier. I mean, this is just, everybody can do this. And so no kneading, you just make the
That's
dough.
correct. So I'm going to stir this together until it becomes a sticky dough.
It goes against everything that I have ever been taught about baking bread. I mean, this is...
Well, and if you want to have it every day, this is the perfect solution. All right, so as you can see, it's coming together,
Uh-huh.
and we're going to cover it tightly and
That's
let
it?
We're going to
Can you
cover
believe
it
this?
tightly.
Okay.
We're going to let it rise for 18 to 24 hours. The time is what takes care of the kneading for us. So yesterday,
Yes.
as I put this aside, I got one ready. And as you can see, it's doubled in size. And
So
it's
it will not go over the over dish, because you should know. It was
Right, exactly. Well, we're going to have
Very
a second
interesting.
proofing.
Okay.
So I have, it's covered in tiny bubbles. That's the yeast working, and about double in size.
And what's next? What do
All
we
right.
do next?
So next, we're going to cover it with just enough flour to help it ease out of the bowl, because we don't really want to overwork it. And then I'm going to prepare our sheet. We have a plain cooking sheet and a linen or cotton tea towel.
Very good.
And we're going to dust this again with just enough flour. I like to use a little bit of cornmeal as well, because it gives that kind of a nutty texture.
I do like that too, yeah.
Kind of like a ciabatta in Italy. So we're going to take our spoon and slowly ease this from the bowl. And the goal is to get it onto the towel.
Pay attention, pay close attention to this recipe, because in one of the future episodes, I'm going to show you the way I've been taught to make bread, which is a hard labor. So I want you to compare these two recipes. So, okay, let's see what comes out of this.
Again, we're going to add just enough flour and cornmeal to keep it from sticky. So what I'll do is put a little bit around.
Yes.
It really is this simple.
So no kneading at all?
No, we're not going to touch it. Well, I'm going to shape it, and that is it. Yep, literally. And basically, all I'm doing is making sure that I've got enough flour. It's a little tacky over here.
Okay, it's amazing. Now, so we have a recipe that's absolutely easy to make, and yet very few families bake bread today.
Exactly.
So
but with
why
our
is that?
olive oil and this simple recipe, you can have fresh bread daily.
So can you imagine if we could bring fresh bread back into American homes? I think we could bring
We would
so
all
many.
gain 10 pounds.
Okay.
All right, so now I've just covered it, and we're going to let this rest. It'll be our second proofing for an hour to an hour and a half, 2 hours at the most, and we'll bake it off.
Sounds great. So with recipe like this, I think none of you have excuse not to make bread. And baking bread, there's just something special about that. I think in so many ways, it brings memories, it brings homes, it brings special moments in a home.
It does. It evokes things like going to Grandma's house.
Yes, and so we can be the grandma's house. And
You're
we
the
are
grandma's house.
Just to the near future. So I hope you will be encouraged with this recipe because it really doesn't require time or effort.
No, it's that simple.
And you can create that special atmosphere in your home around the fresh baking bread in your home.
You got it. All right, so our next step is going to be a vinegar and fig reduction to marry with the olive oil and dip in our bread.
Sounds good. Okay,
You ready?
I'm game. Now the bread is resting and peppers are cooling. We're moving on to a new recipe. And
Correct.
what are we making?
We're going to make a balsamic fig reduction. We're infusing figs with balsamic vinegar and a little bit of sugar.
Okay.
And we have 3 cups ready, so we just have a few more to chop.
Okay,
And
so
if you'll chop them up into quarters, I'm going to get the vanilla out of our little pot here.
The fig tree. I mean, that's just something that a lot of homes in Europe still have in the backyard. In fact, I have 2. I also have the black and a white fig. You call them differently. What are the names?
These, we are told, are mission figs, and the figs that Dean is going to be using later for our antipasta are Cadota figs. They're a little meatier.
These are just beautiful. They're bursting with flavor and ripeness. Look at them. This is just gorgeous.
Doesn't it remind you of going to Grandma's house and having homemade fig Newtons?
You know, I'll tell you a story. I remember my husband telling me a story about his childhood and how popular figs were. He said there were no candies, there's no chocolate, and the only sweet thing in the store are dry figs. And to get them, you need money, of course, and he didn't have it. So he said I would go from house to house, and I would steal eggs from various grandmas, just an egg here, an egg there, and I would go to the store and exchange them for figs. That's how precious they were. And can you imagine today, in today's era, kids would not even try them.
No, our grandkids are scared to death of them. But they're absolutely delicious.
They are delicious. It's
Okay,
just
so
really
we put those in, and we'll have our 4 cups.
Okay.
So to our pan, I've put in a vanilla bean and just a partial peel of
Can
an
we bring
orange.
the pan out here?
Sure.
Okay, let's
That'll
do
make
that.
things easier for us.
So we're cutting like about half of it, like maybe just what
And
do you got
it's
here?
just
Quarter?
a flavor. It's not necessary, but it adds a nice touch.
Okay.
I'll pour in the sugar.
Can I add these?
Yes, please.
You know, creating recipes like this together with friends, it's just such a nice thing. And I remember when I was a kid, there were special holidays, and before, women would get together and cook for days. There is a special holiday called Slava, and I remember that baking and cooking took for about a week.
But it was fun.
It was fun.
very.
It
It's
was
like
lots of
making
fun.
jam together.
Yes.
So I've added 2 cups of a good quality balsamic vinegar, and
Okay.
we're going to let this simmer on the stovetop for about an hour and a half.
Sounds very good. So it's very effortless recipe, right?
Yes, and the reason I put it in a big pot is so that while we're distracted doing other things, it
Good
won't
tip.
boil over.
Very good tip. Keep your stove clean.
And I'm going to turn it on and get it stirring, and then we'll move on to our soup.
Okay, very good. I'm eager to see what this soup recipe turns out like. So peppers are cool, and we are ready to finish up our soup.
Perfect. Look at that caramelization.
I think they're good enough just to eat the way they are.
And we're just going to ease this whole thing into our Vitamix.
You know, looking at these flavors and just smelling what you have here, it reminds me of home very much because the region in which I grew up was pepper and cabbage region. So you start, any dish you start and began to make, it was first you start with onions, and there's always pepper somehow incorporated in that dish. If not like this, at least it was like a Hungarian pepper. It was dry or smoked. So I love
Very
these flavors.
popular in Hungary, that's right.
Right.
All right, so I'm going to turn this on. It's going to be a little
Okay.
loud, and we're basically going to slowly chop them. And then I'll be adding our tomato base.
And this, you said it's a roasted tomato base, correct?
It is. And what
Okay.
we did earlier, we picked the tomatoes, we washed them, let them dry, and then we pureed them.
And these look beautiful. In addition to roasted peppers and roasted tomato sauce, we are adding half and half Parmesan cheese, and in this case, a little more half and half.
And now we're going to put it in my favorite Dutch oven. This is actually from my grandmother.
So how old do you think it is?
I don't know, maybe 50 years.
So you have cooked how many soups? How many dishes do you think?
A lot.
Thousands
A lot.
and
In fact,
thousands?
growing up, one of my favorite soups was tomato soup with a grilled cheese sandwich.
Oh, that's wonderful. So why was this such a special treat?
I think just a family tradition again, you know, those memories that evoke something that tastes good and happy times sitting as a family around the table.
It's interesting. I find such a close connection between food and happy times. You know, it's just somehow the best of the times, family times, were usually connected to events like meals.
Exactly. So we're going to put this on the stovetop. We're
Okay.
going to let it simmer and just let all the flavors marry, and then we'll add a little salt and pepper. We'll just it at the end and see if we like
That's
it.
it?
That's it.
Wonderful. Okay.
Well, and we need our bread.
The bread, yes, the next thing. The most exciting part. Let's see how you finish up your bread.
Okay, all we have to do left is bake it off.
Bake it off. So should I go get the dish?
Yes, please.
Okay, let's do that.
We've heated it and the oven to 450 degrees, so this is
Okay.
piping hot.
Okay, very good.
And the easiest way I found to get this into that without burning ourselves is
Oh, it is really hot.
just
Okay.
to quickly gather up the sides and invert it into the pot.
Okay,
Put
back
the
in
lid
oven.
back on,
Okay.
and there you go.
And how long?
40 minutes.
All right.
If you'll get the pot, and we'll strain our balsamic vinegar. Okay.
Okay.
Oh, it's beautiful.
It's so rich.
You smell
Oh.
that?
It looks like black honey. That's what it looks like. It smells really good. You can smell the balsamic and vanilla and figs at the same time.
Perfect timing, you two. Look at what I've been prepping.
Oh my goodness, what you got there? Dean?
Prosciutto and fig with goat cheese in there.
You've been working behind our back?
Oh yeah, let me show you. You cut the fig, you cut an X like this.
Uh-huh.
Okay, then you take a little bit of the goat cheese.
Goat cheese. Creamy goat
Squeeze
cheese.
creamy
Oh.
goat cheese. Then you take the prosciutto.
Uh-huh.
Parma, if you can get it. That's what this is.
That looks
Okay,
fine.
and then you take a toothpick and you've got to put together those 4 wedges.
That's a perfect opening for a dinner.
Oh yeah, it's
And we
perfect.
didn't think about that.
No.
And then what we're going to do is I'm going to do this away, but I'll just tell you that we're going to put olive oil on these, and I'm going to put them on the grill, and they're going to be amazing.